Today we'll be discussing the Module 5 Cyber Network Security Concepts Enterprise Security using Zachman framework. So enterprise means nothing but a project. So here the Zachman framework is nothing but an enterprise and is a fundamental structure which provides a formal and structured way of viewing and defining an enterprise. This Jackman framework it will view and define about a project. So this Jackman framework rectification, transformation are identification, definition, representation, specification, configuration, and installation. So what this Jackman framework actually it is invented and it is named after John A. Jackman. So Jackman framework is invented by John A. Jackman is an intellectual tool for describing enterprises, means for describing the projects. The Jackman framework slices and dices complexity into rows and columns. It means what? The Jackman framework will tell us about rows and columns. So it will tell us about the intersection of rows and columns. The rows represent human roles. Means the rows will tell about the overview of human roles. Each row column intersection in the Jackman framework is a cell to be populated with models and specifications which are representation of enterprises, means which are representation of a project. So this is the Jackman framework for enterprise architecture. So Jackman framework will tell about the rows and column, and it also tells about the intersections of rows and columns. So the first row it tells about the identification. So it gives the explanation about identification. Second row it tells about the definitions. It may define about inventory. It may define about process distribution. It may define about responsibilities. It may tell about timing. It may define about motivation. So third row it tell about representations. So, fourth row it tell about the specifications, engineering perspective specifications. So fourth row it tell about the configurations, so technical perspective configuration. In this way each row will tell about one or the other things. So first row it may tell about the executive perspective. First row it tell about the executive perspective, second row it tell about the business management perspective, and third row it tell about the architect perspective, and fourth row it tell about the engineering perspective, fifth row it tell about the technician perspective, and sixth row it tell about the enterprise perspective. It may be about it may be about instantaneous. So this Jackman framework will tell about businesses in which way we have to proceed. Means what we have to do, how we have to do, where we have to do. So when, why. It tells about who, with whom we have to process. So they tell about the each row and column will tell about these all things. So this is framed in an Jackman framework architecture. So next topic is primitive model versus compositive model. So primitive model is nothing but what it have single types of components. Compositive means it have multiple types of components. A primitive model is one that only includes entities from a single column. For example, consider the information models in column 1 of figure. Our models can include a list of data entities, row 1, a data hierarchy, row 2, conceptual schema, row 3, logical schema, row 4, physical schema, row 5, and record instant, and row 6. Means each row will tell about the things. So if you consider row 1 to row 6, row 1 will tell about data entities, row 2 will tell about data hierarchy, row 3 will tell about conceptual schema, row 4 logical schema. In that way, row 5 will explain about physical schema, and row 6 will explain about record instantaneous. Compositive model combine primitives from multiple columns. For example, is a matrix that shows a relationship between primitives such as processes versus data. Next topic is architectural problem solving patterns. So what are the architectural problem solving patterns? So if how we can solve the things. Pattern is, a pattern is the repeated or regular way in which something happens or is done. So it means a pattern means nothing but a repeated or a regular way. So here, how we can solve such architecture problem solving patterns? One, business question analysis, document mining, hierarchy information. So you can see here, 20 years have passed and the techniques have evolved through thousands of engagements. The key techniques are as follows: business question analysis. So business question analysis means you have to analyze each question to understand which column are involved to answer the questions and which column need to be mapped to which others. This analysis determines which hierarchies and matrices are needed. Hierarchy means you know nothing but what a system information, system formation. So here, when you want to form the when you want to form the system, so you have to analyze the questions. This is a business question answer. You have to analyze each questions which are evolving, and you have to get the solution for those questions. So the next is document mining. Document mining is nothing but what process. So here choose a column and go through each document finding examples. Means document mining is nothing but mining means nothing but a process. So here you have to process the document. So when you want to process the document, what you have to do? You have first thing you have to choose a column and you have to go through each document. Keep a list of what you found, the enterprise test for defining it, and the document and the page number where it can be found. Next is hierarchy formation. Hierarchy means you know system formation. So here system formation. So here play a card on the wall exercise with small groups and organize each list into a hierarchy, possibly inventing some new categories in the middle of the tree. So this is how we are going to solve the uh, problem solving patterns. Another two are there: enterprise workshop and matrix mining. So next is the enterprise workshop and matrix mining. Enterprise workshop means project workshop. So bring the posters and some binders with the row one definition to a workshop with enterprise stakeholders. Matrix mining means so carefully review the documents for cross-column relation, that is a sentence involving more than one column. Keep track of each relationship including document, quoted text and page number. Then conduct an enterprise workshop to validate the matrices. So these are the five things which we are going to solve the architecture problems. So, if you see here in this diagram, problem solving types. So, there are three kinds of problem solving types. So, one is divergent thinking, information sharing, and convergent thinking. In the following catalog of architecture problem solving pattern, there are primary modes of thinking. So, these are the three primary modes of thinking. One is divergent, convergent, and information sharing. These corresponds to generating ideas, selecting ideas, and defending ideas. So these are the primary modes of thinking. So which help us to generate ideas, which help us to select the ideas, and which help us to define the ideas. So these three are the problem solving types. So these three are the primary modes of problem solving types. So here some catalogs are there. First catalog is business question analysis. So business question analysis. So already we have discussed that problem solving patterns. So using these problem solving patterns, we are writing some catalogs or we are framing some catalogs. So first catalog is business question analysis. It is also known as classifying the primitives by Zachman column. So problem solving type. So previously we have discussed there are three types of thinkings, primary thinking. So here problem solving type is convergent thinking. So process role is task lead, current roles is principal architect, business SME, communication techniques is small group discussion, individual problem solving. Range of duration is 1 hour to 3 days. So here, business question analysis. Its duration it may take up to 1 hour or it may take up to 3 days. Next is the document mining. This document mining also known as document analysis. Problem solving type is divergent thinking. Process role is task lead experienced in the EA's problem solving techniques. Principal architect. Content roles is the team. Communication technique is individual document inspection, document findings with the traceable sources. Range of duration is 1 day to 1 month. It may take 1 day or it may take 1 month to process the document. So next catalog is hierarchy information and enterprise workshop. So hierarchy information, it is also known as cards on the wall, and problem solving type is convergent thinking. Process roles is task lead experienced in EA problem solving techniques. Content roles is the team. Communication technique is small breakout discussions with cards on the wall or table, and subsequently using Excel and Visio to create the diagram. And range of duration is half hour to 2 hours. Next catalog is enterprise workshop, that is project workshop. So it is also known as a large group consensus forming, review meeting, problem solving type, information sharing, convergent thinking. Process roles is customer lead or facilitator. Content roles is customer review team. Communication technique is hierarchy posters, written descriptions on PowerPoint, sticky wall. Range of duration is 1.5 hour to 6.5 hours. So next catalog is matrix mining, and it is also known as creating another matrix. Problem solving type is convergent thinking. Process roles is task lead, who is EA problem solving SME. Content roles is the team. Communication techniques, silent document review, internal review workshop. Range of duration is 1 hour to 2 days. So it depends on the documentation. So these are the five catalogs which help us to solve the patterns problems. So for this all catalogs, you have to give this common explanation, that is about background preparation procedure. So background, you have to tell about interviews are a weak data collection technique because the information depends on one person opinion which varies by their personal situation each day. Preparation is collect as many customer documents as possible, establish criteria for what is to be collected and how much to collect. Procedure, most of the work is conducted outside of meeting. Meetings are used to organize the overall efforts. So I have given a note that for all catalogs give common explanation of background preparation and procedure. So in exam, if they ask it about these catalogs, if they tell to explain any two catalogs also, all the for any two catalogs or all the catalogs, for each catalog you have to write these three common explanations. Next topic is miniature for problem solving meetings. So miniature means nothing but it is used to describe something which is very small. So here miniature for problem solving meetings. How we are going to solve the miniature problems. So here miniature are additional techniques to round out your meeting facilitation skills. Techniques such as breakouts and the idea parking lot are classic approaches for conducting effective meetings. So, which are the miniature for problem solving meetings? One is breakouts. Breakouts means meetings are least productive when only one person talks and everyone others does nothing but listen and take notes. So breakout means what will happen? If you see in meeting, only one person will be talking, and remaining they are just noting what they are talking. So this kind of attitude is known as breakouts. Flip charts. Flip charts means unlike a computer or a whiteboard, flip charts give a group unlimited space for creativity. So which gives the things for creativity, that is about flip charts. Time management. If you plan an agenda, plan the time of each meeting topic and stick to it. So you have to follow the timings, that is time management. Ground rules, have some ground rules for each meeting so that distractions are minimized and the group does not waste time. So when you call for some meeting, so you have to set some rules and you have to talk about those things. So when you talk about the particular things, then there will be no wastage of time. So next is idea parking lot. Post a separate flip chart to capture ideas that are outside the meeting purpose. Revisit these ideas at the end of the meeting and decide as a group how they should be addressed. Other problem solving catalogs, general problem solving and business meeting facilitation are similar description, and they share common catalogs of techniques. Perhaps the most widely used and respected catalogs of technique is techniques of structured problem solving by Arthur van Gundy. So these are some miniature problems